The 21st century of Swiss football has been dominated by FC Basel, winning 12 championships in 24 years and having a spell of 8 in a row in the late 2000s, early 2010s. However, since that run in 2017 came to an end, FC Basel have not lifted a Swiss championship and are currently sitting down the lower half of the Swiss championships, just above the relegation. So today we're going to be looking to fix FC Basel, taking them back to their dominant times at the top of Swiss football and hopefully making an appearance in the Champions League. So let's get into this mini FM24 Basel rebuild. And when I think of FC Basel, I think of wonder kids and potential. And as you look through their squad on FM24, putting all the, 5-star potential players up into the under 18s, 19s, 21s, into the first team, there is about 15 players here with 5-star potential who look absolutely outrageous. In this rebuild, we were taking a bit of a deeper dive into some wonder kids, a bit more of a slower paced, relaxed sort of 2 or 3 season rebuild, building a club back to the top of their league. So if you enjoy it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video and let me know you've enjoyed this sort of a bit different style, a little slower paced rebuild, because I hope you guys do, but that would be good fun. The number 1 player, and you can see the guy in the thumbnail, is Renato Vega. This guy is unbelievable, and I can't quite believe he's here at FC Basel. I've signed him in a few rebuilds back in the past on FM23 when he was a wonder kid over at Sporting and on loan at Augsburg, and this year I've signed him a few times as well. He's a fantastic player with great aggression, long throw-ins of all things, so you've got a nice little Rory Delap on your team. He's got great determination, great physical attributes, and he's only 20 years of age, which is absolutely mind-boggling. He's already a very good Super League player and could become a 5-star potential player. And like I say, I've signed him a few times in this FM, and more often than not, he does become a superstar. We've also got a DM next to him that I've locked in for this second half of the season of Leon Avdaluhu. This guy again looks absolutely fantastic. He's consistent. He's a 2.5-star rated player with 5-star potential, and again looks absolutely brilliant. Great physicals, great determination, and as a DM partnership, we should be pretty much set for the rest of time. I mean, them guys are literally 20 and 19 years of age and both look absolutely fantastic. Looking at some of the, absolute standout wonder kids, someone I've signed again lots of times on this year's FM, but never quite got ticking, is Junior Zay. This guy's a value of £450,000 to 7 million. He's a little bit inconsistent, which always turns me off just a little bit, but with 11 determination, 14 dribbling, 16 flair, and fantastic physical attributes, Junior Zay is a very, very good wonder kid. And again, of course, 5-star potential. Currently good enough for the second tier of Switzerland. He was signed by Basel from Grasshoppers, who I believe are the most successful Swiss side with 26 titles compared to Basel's 22. So a very good young player. Axel Kayumbo is a French winger / left winger as well, signed from, I believe, Servette back in 2021. Again, a very good wonder kid with 5-star potential. And there's one more guy I want to touch on in terms of potential, and it's this guy, Adriano Onyegbule. This guy signed from RB Leipzig for Basel, looks absolutely fantastic. Again, a value of £500,000 to £7 million of great determination. Again, decent physical attributes, 6 foot tall as well, which I quite like in a central attack midfielder with a really very good dribbling, first touch, flair, and determination. Being 6 foot tall, I'm a big fan of that. He is currently inconsistent. He is capped under 17 level 4 Germany, and hopefully for us can go on to do fantastic things. So welcome in Adriano Onyegbule. Hopefully he can be a fantastic player. And I lied because there's just one more player that I need to touch on because this is the sort of signing which you do not see happen very often. Juan Guto, signed from Huracan in Argentina, coming over to Switzerland. 4-star current ability and 5-star potential. 19 years of age, and he is so well-rounded. I mean, to be honest, he's not the greatest inside forward, which is what we will be using here at Basel, but great pace, great flair, determination. His mental stats are all in the blue, apart from leadership at 10, which being a 5'7" Argentinian winger, unlike unless you're Lionel Messi, it's not the most important thing, but he looks like a fantastic wonder kid in Juan Guto. And there is so many players we could go through, and we could spend hours going through the wonder kids here at Basel, but that is not really doing it in season 1. By the end of sort of season 2 and season 3, and like I said, it will be just a 3-season rebuild. Anyone that has massively impressed, we will make sure to go ahead and look into. I did have a updated sort of fixture list for Basel with correct results going through the whole season, but it was broken and it wouldn't let me me do the relegation phase for the second half of the season, because in Switzerland it's split into promotion and relegation and was a little bit buggy. So I've gone ahead and just done a few sort of loading the saves until I got a bottom half season, and here we are on 25 points, finishing in 8th place starting in January, trying to just sort of keep this first season as realistic as possible, as they are having an absolute stinker in real life. So that's what we're going to be trying to do with Basel right now, rebuild them from this sort of lower half team, which they are in real life, which is baffling to me, because even here at NFM, you can imagine it took me quite a long time to get them to be in with these lot: Witherden, Yverden, Ulazane, Grasshopper, who are actually 500-1, and like I said, the most successful team, and Stade Luzerne. We had to try and be down with these lot, and it took me a lot of attempts to get them to be down here, but we've finally gone ahead and done it in 8th place. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult time this season, so I'm not expecting too much. We're out of the Schweizer Cup, which is like the FA Cup here in Switzerland, and knocked out in the Europa Conference League in the 4th qualifying round by FC 20. So it sort of shows the level of the club isn't even getting in to the group stages of the Conference League. So a long old way to go. Let's get into the first season here at Basel and see what sort of, run we can make in the second half of the season. So very much as expected in season 1, we are finished down in 8th place as well. 52 points, quite a bit clear of relegation, which hopefully is what's going to happen with Basel in real life, but still 9 points of even getting back into the Europa Conference League, and a whole host of points away from the title, which Zurich have just won for the second time in 3 years. BSC Young Boys are a dominant side in recent years here in Switzerland, and I mean, this season they finished level on points with 65 apiece, just a 3-goal difference, which is absolutely heartbreaking for them. Some of our standout players this season, if we check out by selection info, the best player at the club was Junior Zay at 7.11. Like I said, I've never really managed to get him ticking, but maybe actually keeping him in the Swiss League for 2 or 3 seasons is going to be the key to making Junior Zay an absolute superstar. Dominic Schmid, who is a very, very good left back for 7.07, 26 years of age with that sort of value, maybe is going to be looking to leave the club, because I'll show you the finances in just 2 seconds. He is a little bit on the older side of the squad we've currently got, and with the money we've got here at the club, not a lot, and that is for sure. He might be worth getting rid of. He's a very, very good player though, so in your guys' saves, make sure to have a look at Dominic Schmid, because he looks fantastic. Adriano Ogbenyele as well. In the start that he had and the 11 games on the bench, got 3 assists, so a very, very promising young player in him. The main goal scorer of the season was Dorde Jovanovic, but you can see from a 6.92 average rating, maybe he's not going to be the sort of player that we need up front. He scored lots of goals, which we do in this system anyway, in this 4-2-3-1 we are using, but he is 6'2". He's not the quickest striker. He's not the greatest decision making. He's just an absolute bagsman. And you can see his favourite position is playing as a target forward. So I think if we can go ahead and again get anywhere in this sort of £2 to £3 million value for him, we'll be saying goodbye to him, because we have got a fantastic young striker at the club, which we haven't touched on just yet. Now, again, this guy is 6'5", and his preferred position is a target forward. But as an advanced forward, this guy at just 21 years of age could progress into an absolute superstar. And I'm willing to give this guy a chance over Jovanovic, that 4 years being his younger. Such a small value, there's no point in really selling him. Tierno Barry can hopefully be an absolute superstar. He was signed for 2.6 million from the second tier of Belgium, I believe, SK Brevenin this season, and he looks like an absolute stud on FM. Great jump and reach, great heading, and of course 6'5", so should be an absolute monster in game. Our 2 central defensive midfielders, Renato Vega and Leon Advaluhu, both with fantastic average ratings above 6.9. So very happy with how this first season has gone. Players are progressing very, very well. Now, in terms of, obviously, we've got all these players in the first team. You guys might be thinking they're not getting any game time. Why would you have them in the first team if they can't go ahead and play? Now, for me, one of the best things to do to develop your wonder kids is to get them up into the first team, so they're training with the first team, men's adult footballers, and then make them available for under 21s and under 19s football. So you can see players here which are on the bench are available for under 21s. Junior Zay, I would take off. That's for last season's instructions. But if you get them doing this, they are still playing regular football. Someone like Evan Senea actually didn't play a single game for the 21s, so a poor one from me. But Adrian here with non-competitive, maybe we're just not playing under 21 games, because that's not coming through either. I'm sure he would have played loads if it was working properly. But these players, would you get them to go ahead and play in the under 21s football, so they still get sort of match time and keep that match sharpness, but when called upon in the first team, they can come and play and train with the first team as well. So when you bring them up into the first team, they are already already sort of in tune with the tactic that's being used, because you're training that every single week, and sometimes under 21s, under 19s, under 18s might play something slightly different based on the manager you have got there. Now, in terms of finances, like I've mentioned, there is not a lot of money, 1.43 million in transfer budget and a negative 2.6 in wage budget, which of course makes this rebuild just that little bit harder. I mean, we have got a fantastic youth system here, so it's not going to be the end of the world. The finances actually at the club, we have £5 million in the bank and no debt, which is good to see. A little bit of transfer debt. It looks like there's a few signings made on the Never Never a few years ago before we got here, and wage budget wise, we are, absolutely spending at our max. In terms of the rest of the league, I'm actually interested to see if we are spending the most. We aren't, but we are second most to Young Boys, who are of course a very rich club and doing very well. So we certainly need to either drop this or just sort of be at that sort of first and second battling if we're going to be paying that sort of money. I mean, a team like Zurich that have just won it are spending half the amount of finances than we are. So something to certainly look at and something to certainly go ahead and change. And like I said, a few outgoings this season, a few of the older sort of wing backs, and Dorde Jovanovic, our top goal scorer, hopefully leaving the club, and we should be able to bring in some superstars. So let's get into the transfer window for season 2. So our first signing is Lucas Bergvall, and he is someone that is heavily sort of regarded as one of the best wonder kids in real life right now. He's just moved to Tottenham Hotspur for the end of this current real life season, which is very exciting. Currently on FM, he is still very cheap to go ahead and pick up, just £1.3 million from Djurgårdens over in Sweden, and is an absolute stud. Now, this is not a realistic Basel rebuild in the slightest. I mean, he was never going to come to FC Basel in real life. He has, of course, gone to Spurs, was in talks of Bayern Munich and Barcelona, Manchester United. So it's a bit of fun, this rebuild. We're signing some wonder kids from around the world and hopefully showing you guys some superstars that you can pick up in your save. And Lucas Bergvall is fantastic. And I hope he can go ahead and really progress, because we picked him up in a rebuild a few weeks back over at Roma, actually. And he was never really going to be Serie A quality or, playing every single game and being a superstar. Whereas here over at Basel, we can progress him very nicely over the next couple of seasons and leave him over for you guys over on Patreon to go ahead and use, or to be a superstar here at Basel for the rest of the time. Now, I have just mentioned Patreon. A massive thank you to the legends that are on screen right now. You are quite literally helping make my dreams come true of making content, and I absolutely love making content. As I sort of did a poll on YouTube, I'm addicted to making videos right now, doing rebuilds and looking at these wonder kids and finding real life players which are going to be absolute superstars, possibly in 3-4 years time, to the point where we're watching Champions League football. When you go, oh, do you remember that Julian Bazan, who I'm about to show you? We signed him from Deportivo Pereira in the lower leagues of Colombia, is now playing for Manchester City. I don't know, but finding players like that, which, one day you might be able to see, and it's just great fun doing these rebuilds. So you do get these rebuild files over on Patreon. For this one, it's going to be the end of season 3. It is just a mini rebuild. If you want to pick up from the end of season 1 as well, I'll make that available for you. But that is going to be all down in the Patreon, which is the top of the description. So a massive thank you to you legends that can go ahead and support over there. Now, Julian Banzan, who I have just mentioned, like I said, signed from Colombia, Deportivo Pereira. I believe they're sort of the lower leagues of Colombia, or they might be in the top league. I honestly have absolutely no idea. But he is a 5-star potential centre-back with 11 determination, 13 heading, 14 marking and 14 tackling, which, if you know me, the Holy Trinity, I like to see them bits above sort of 12s. And an 18-year-old centre-back, that is fantastic. He is a little bit injury prone, a little bit inconsistent, so some worries for him, which is to be expected when you're finding wonder kids at this sort of level. They're not going to be perfect players. This guy has got very good determination, very good physical attributes as well at just 18 years of age. So hopefully should be a superstar and can really hopefully take us to that next level. I went ahead and signed a striker as well to sort of back up the wonder kid I showed you last season. That is Yanis Ansiste. This guy is a French striker of 11 finishing, 12 composure and very good physicals, 6'1", and also an advanced forward, which is good to see. Finally moving away from that target forward we've seen so much. This guy is consistent. He's a 3-star current player and a 5-star potential ability player. He is at Spezia in real life, on loan over at Regina in the Serie B, where he dropped a 6.96, 7 goals in 18 games, which is decent enough for a 20-year-old. So for £2.9 million, I think this is a very good pickup. He's a right-footed, consistent, and just looks absolutely brilliant. So hopefully we should see some good things from Janis this season. A brand new goalkeeper was also needed, so Robert Popper has come in. This guy's a Romanian goalkeeper, 2 caps for under 21, so we might see him in the future be the Romanian goalkeeper. He plays for FCU Craiova in Romania in Liga 1. He looks very good. 49 goals conceded in 38 last season. Not the greatest of records. records, but a 4-star potential 21-year-old goalkeeper who is already 3-star and consistent, 6'3", very well-rounded. I mean, look at the ones 13, 13, 13, 12, 14, 11, 11, and 11 in the things he needs to be good at. He absolutely smashes it, which is great to see. And obviously that is all the green highlighted stats. If you don't know, that is what the player needs to be good at in that position. And then my last signing is one which is an absolute big old flop, is Patrick Lanza. This guy looks absolutely fantastic, an attacking left back, but for some reason when you sign players here in Switzerland, they don't come with a work permit, and I wasn't warned that he wouldn't be able to get a work permit either. So he's not got a work permit. We spent £2.5 million on him, and in a year's time, we're going to have to sell him for 500k, which is very, very frustrating because we've tried the work permit, we tried to get him a work permit, it never gets accepted. And sorry for Patrick Lanza, I probably ruined your career. He looks like a fantastic young left back over at Sao Paulo, so it still could be a banger for you guys to sign as an attacking wing back. You can see crossing, dribbling technique is absolutely brilliant. So someone to certainly go ahead and look at. And with them new wonder kid signings coming into the team, our team now looks very, very strong, and one that I'm very, very happy with. It Robert Popper in goal. We've got Jalaga and Schmidt as the two wing backs, still both stay in the club, even though they're a tiny bit older, and a fantastic centre-back partnership in Comas and Veliz. Now, I want to quickly touch on Comas. This guy's a 24-year-old Spanish centre-back signed from the Barcelona Academy, so you can imagine he's a very good ball-playing young centre-back and looks absolutely fantastic and is so cheap. So again, on your saves, could be a stud to go ahead and pick up. He loves big matches and is incredibly consistent as well, so could be a banger to go ahead and sign. And Nicolas Veliz is the exact same, a ball-playing centre-back, consistent, loves big matches, 6 foot tall, Swiss under-21 international, signed from Sevilla a few years ago, is going to be an absolute superstar in this rebuild. The DMs are Renato Vega and SEM. Now, I do have to touch on Advaluhu. He has left the club. He is going off to Swansea in the Championship. He kicked up an absolute stinker, wanted to leave, and we got like 100k for him, but a 50% future sell-on, which isn't too bad. A little bit frustrating at the lack of money, but we have got a player here who looks fantastic, who was on loan last season at Stade Lausanne Ouchy in the top division. They got relegated as the worst team, and he dropped a 6.91, which is actually a very good rating. Now, as a DM with Renato Vega, this guy looks absolutely superb. 5-star potential, 3-star current ability, Ghanaian under 20 international, and next to Vega should be a superstar. Galto on the right hand side, Junior Zay in the left hand side, Bergval in cam, and Barry as our starting striker. As the backups on the bench, we're looking at a lot of potential here. Niels de Mol as a 3.5-star goalkeeper, Niels Charau as a 4-star right back, Finn van Bremen is a 5-star centre back with Julian Banzan, 5-star centre back. Patrick Lanza, as we've mentioned, a bit of a mess up, 5-star left back. Gabriel Seguia, 4-star CDM. Demir Jimelaj is a 4.5-star DM. And then 5 stars across the board for Axel Kiyombo, Adriano Onyangbele, and Kobel Sao, and Janis and Siste as our most recent signing. Now, I'm going to show you some match highlights of this season. Hopefully, we're going to absolutely dominate the Swiss League with these unbelievable wonder kids. I can show you some nice goals, how the tactics worked, and some of the wonder kids, how they perform in game. Let's see how we go ahead and do the Schweizer Cup, the Credit Swiss League, hopefully a nice domestic double. So on the opening day of the season, Way faced off against Grasshopper. As mentioned at the start of this review, the most successful team in Swiss history, and Barry got us off to a fantastic start of a header early on. Milar finds Kayombo, back to Drager, some fantastic link-up play, a lovely little knockdown there by Kayombo, and Drager finished at home to make it 2-0. Another nice little throw-in set piece, and Kayombo gets some space on the left-hand side, chips a nice little ball in for Barry. He is 6'5", he is very, very good, and he finishes that one home. And Essam, the Ghanaian under 20s, goes on an unbelievable run and blasts a strike home to make it 4-0. And like I said, the most successful time in Swiss history have been put to the sword. The Grasshoppers have been battered. But when we faced up against some of the best teams in the league, like Zurich and Young Boys, we fell just short with a 2 draw and a 2-1 loss to Young Boys. So I was not very sure if we were actually going to be able to take an actual charge for the league. Were we going to be the 3rd best team, the 2nd best team? Well, it was all going to come down to consistency. And once we built that consistency and got into a set way of playing, we were unstoppable. A nice early goal here away against Zurich to put us 1-0 up before an Anastiste deflection from a Drager shot, making it 2-0 in the first half. And we were not done yet. Schmid knocks the ball back to Renato Vega. Gauto knocks it off to Milar, who is in the under-21s, looks like a fantastic player, puts it into the top corner. And in the second half, a ball into the back stick. And that ball-playing defender, Arnel Comas, makes it 4-0 again as we absolutely batter last season's winners, Zurich, in a fantastic result. But the only other thing that I want to show you guys is the cup, where we got all the way to the final when we started off fantastic with a Barry goal, nice and early. And this is a title that Basel have not won since 2019. A fantastic whip ball in there from Schmidt, and Barry is at the back stick to get his second of the game. Cade, who's another young wonder kid here at the club, finds SEN to Moulon, and Schmidt puts it onto that stronger left-hand side, and he finds the top corner. But the other team were not done quite yet. Union St. Gallen, not Union St. Gallen, that's the wrong team. Just St. Gallen go ahead and make it 3-1. But again, we were not quite finished. Milard on the left-hand side gets the ball into the box, and Moulon makes it 4-1. And we were Swiss champions of the Schweizer Cup, which is great to go ahead and see. And could we go ahead and do the domestic double like I teased in the start of the video? And yes, we can. 38 games, 28 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses, a 69 goal difference, and champions of the league. And you can see we dominated the goal scored. Tierno Barry with 29 goals in the league this season. Average rating, we dominated the front three with Schmidt, Tierno Barry and Onyeg Bule. And in the assists, Juan Guto with the top spot, and Schmidt at the joint second spot with Sadie Janko. Player of the matches, Dominic Schmidt again, clean sheets, Robert Popper, and yellow cards, the cover star, Renato Vega. It's what we want to see, the most yellow cards, and that's a little bit of passion in there. Renato Vega bringing home the most important trophy. And in terms of the stats, we scored the most goals, 105. We conceded the least with 36 as well. And with the data hub, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. 2.76 goals scored per game and 0.95 conceded. And as you've seen, the absolute superstar this season, the goal scoring hero, was Tierno Barry with 37 goals and 3 assists in 36 games. Lucas Bergval had a big old injury, but in the games he did play 22 starts, 11 off the bench. He bagged 12 goals and got 10 assists. And his young backup, Adriano Onyeg Bule, 20 starts, 11 goals and 4 assists, was a fantastic replacement for Bergval when out injured, and he is progressing into an absolute superstar. So I have to say, go over to Basel and see if you can find some youngsters here. Juan Guto, 16 assists and 10 goals. Mo Drager, the right back, 10 assists and 10 goals as well. Yanis Staniste, as our backup striker, 19 starts, 7 goals, is very, very decent. But our best player over the whole season that played a whole host of games was Dominic Schmidt and Mohamed Drager. It's something we see a hell of a lot in this tactic, the wing-backs being the most pivotal part of the team. Being wing-backs on attack, they are very aggressive, they are very, very exciting. You saw from pretty much every single highlight we showed, they get involved and they get to score lots of goals. Now, that would be very easy for me to stop the rebuild here, but we're on £11 million worth of debt. We have got the Champions League up next season, which I'd like to see how we fare in, and not a lot of money to go ahead and spend. 400k, 22k in wage budget, and a lot of wonder kids, which I imagine could go ahead and get poached. A lot of players are wanted, so it's going to be difficult to keep hold of all the superstars. So rather than just ending it here at season 2, winning the league, we'll do one more season. We'll see if we can keep hold of some of our best players, see if we can go ahead and make a little challenge in the Champions League as well. Well, our best player last season, Dominic Schmid, has left the club, and he's gone over and joined West Brom, who, if they're not in the, they are in the Premier League. Okay, I was going to say, if they're in the Championship, I'm going to be absolutely fuming. But this is the sort of level he's at. He's a lower half Premier League left back. He's 27 years of age, and as mentioned, you know, it was 3 million for us. We sold him for 3.9 million pounds, and then now he's in the Premier League. He's still got a value of sort of 10 to 15 million, and will do a fantastic job in your save. So Dominic Schmidt looks like an absolute superstar, and he was one of the biggest sales of this season. To be fair, there was not really anyone else that left the club, so it was quite good because we were able to sort of build on the wonder kids we've already got. So welcome in Matteo Tanlogo. This guy is a Sporting CP wonder kid, and and we signed him for just £1.4 million. He looks a bit like a Renato Vega sort of regen, really. He's 6 foot, he's 21 years of age, he's Argentinian rather than being Portuguese, but he's a very good ball-winning midfielder, and as a rotation option and backup, I'm sure he'll be an absolute stud for us. And another signing coming in, a Spanish young right back, is Alvaro Santos. This guy is incredibly fast, great dribbling, great tackling, and seems to be quite a good young right back. Not consistent and a little bit injury prone. Like I've said, we might have to go ahead and sort of live with them sort of things. But this guy has come through the Celta Vigo Academy, sold to Lommel in Belgium, and has had 2 decent seasons over there in the second tier, and decided to take a risk. 450k for a very quick young right back. Why on earth not try him out for that sort of fee? My other right back, it looks to be an absolute superstar, is Matija Ilenic. This guy is a Slovenian right back who was released from his contract over at Toronto. They waiver claimed him, whatever they might be. It's Domzale are a good team in Slovenia, and he was picked up by NYCFC for £850,000 before going to Toronto and then eventually getting released. And he looks absolutely superb. 4-star potential, 2.5-star potential current ability. I imagine he's going to be a superstar for us. I think he's going to stay here and be our starting right back and a starting left back. Hopefully someone, again, I've taken a bit of a gamble on, is Ante Utrobobicic. I'm not a Croatian. I'm not fantastic at pronunciation, but a young Croatian left back who looks very good at going forward, decent enough defensively as well. And again, a bit of a risk. He's going to big old boots to fill, trying to replace Mr. Schmidt, who was our best player last season. But £94,000, not a lot of money spent, looks fantastic, and goes in to our left back to be sort of our best, alongside a regen that has come through the academy in Chirac Akshoy. This guy's a Swiss left back, which looks very, very comparable. Again, very good going forward, decent enough defensively, very, very fast, should be a superstar here at the club. And the team this season, again, is looking very, very similar. Is Robert Popper in goal, Matija Ilenic and Akshoy as the 2 wing backs, with Ruiz and Comas at centre back. Estiam and Vega keep their spots in DM, with the front 4 staying the same as well, with Guto, Zay, Bergval and Barry. The backups though have changed a fair bit because there's a lot of wonder kids that are coming through the academy. Now, in terms of Basel, they have got a 5-star youth recruitment, so you pretty much go out there and get the pick of the bunch in terms of the wonder kids that come through in Switzerland. They all come to Basel, which is great because which means we get loads and loads of wonder kids. So Tim Speyer, Ante Santos, Julian Bazan, Trondol, Jotrovic, Zemilja, Tangolo, Kobosau, Onyeng Bule, Kayombo and Anastise. But as we look through sort of the other players that are here at the club, I just need to show you guys the actual reports. There is so many wonder kids that are coming through. It is actually stupid how many players we have got here at the club which are absolute superstars or will go on to be superstars. And there's more that we're still trying to get rid of, still trying to loan out. There's lots of under 21s, lots of under 19s, lots of under 18s, which are just absolutely ridiculous. And this sort of wonder kid train we've got going here at Basel is lovely to go ahead and see. We've sort of fixed the finances a little bit already with £1.3 million in the bank. There's more money I could go and spend, but I'm not going to because I don't want to mud the club. But I want to leave this good for you guys over on Patreon as well. So this league, we're in the Champions League, which should be good fun. See if we can go ahead and qualify for that and take over the league phase. If we get out of the league phase, I take that as a massive, massive W. So let's see how we can do in the 3rd season with FC Basel. Well, in just our 3rd game of the season, we got off to an absolutely unbelievable start. We faced off against St. Gallen last season in the final of the Cup, and this season, in the 3rd game of the season, we put them to the absolute sword. A nice early goal you saw there from Onyeng Bele in the 45th minute, just before half-time. Renato Vega puts us 2-0 up. Jan Galto gets to the edge of the box, finds Estiam, a fantastic touch as he drives into the box and fires into the top corner. A quick note, Lawrence Ziggy, their goalkeeper, is a fantastic young goalkeeper who, other than this game, I believe is a superstar. We put 6 past him in the end. Ilenic with a back post header to make it 4-0. Junior Zay, who was outstanding this season, put it home. A lucky one for 5-0, but like a Garnacho goal, that one. And Galto with the ball in. And Tierney Barry, who we saw last season, score lots and lots of headers. Did exactly that for the first game I'm going to show you this season. A 6-0 battering against St. Gallen before we go into one of the biggest wins I've pretty much ever had on FM. This is against Lugano, who are a fairly decent team in the Swiss League. It was quite an impressive victory, I have to say. It was you'll see the amount of goals we scored. I'm not going to spoil it just yet. Barry makes it 1-0 in 17 minutes, and 24 minutes in, Galto gets a ball into the box. SEM knocks it back to Galto out wide. He beats his man, and he fires a ball into Anisiste, who heads it home for 2-0 even. Galto in the box. Kormas not going to quite win that one. SEM back into Galto, is going to drill one low and hard into the back of the net for 3-0. Iljanic down this right-hand side finds SEM. Galto drives all the way over to the left-hand side to find Vega, who absolutely sticks a screamer into the top corner. Galto to Vega to Latiev, another wonder kid going through. Trondle driving down the left-hand side, gets the ball into Antiste to make it 5-0 before half-time. Just after half-time, literally within a minute, Galto and SEM play a nice little 1-2. It drops to SEM on the edge of the box after a deflection, and he volleys it into the top corner. 52nd minute to go ahead and make it 7-0. Iljanic finds Galto, and it's an absolutely outrageous drubbing at this point. Comas finds Vega into SEM. He finds Galto. Ball in behind to Ansiste to make it 8-0. And we didn't quite get to double figures. We are going to go ahead and get a 9th. Galto finds SEM to Vega to Trondle on the left-hand side, and we make it 9-0. And I'm fuming it wasn't 10, but 27 shots, a 4.2 XG, a 9-0 absolute battering. Just shows probably quite how good this team is, and there will be absolutely no surprise after them 2 games that we absolutely stormed the league with an 81 goal difference, 94 points, 29 wins, 7 draws, and 2 losses. 111 goals, conceding just 30, and we're simply outrageous this season. The best thing though this season is we didn't even have a top goal scorer in the league, which I actually absolutely love. We had 17 goals from Junior Zay, 15 from Bergvall, 15 from Barry, 13 from Onyeg Boulay, 12 and 16 from our brand new right back Matija Iljanic is outrageous, 12 and 23 from Jan Guto, 12 goals from Yanis Ansiste, and 10 goals from DM for Vega. Overall, just the whole team played at an absolutely ridiculous level, which is fantastic to see. Sadly, we're not going to go ahead and do a domestic double as we lost 3-1 in the 3rd round of the Schweizer Cup to Lausanne. So that one is over just as quick as it started. But we want to go ahead and check out how we got on in the Champions League. Well, it's the first time in quite a few years that Basel have been back. And with our first game back in the Champions League, you know, with a sold-out stadium here in Switzerland, it'll be good to get off to a fantastic victory. Now, we took an early lead and then Ant-Man snuck his way in and got a goal for them. A ball in from Vulkos there against Anastase, looked offside to me, but wasn't given. That was 2-1, a 3-1, a header from Arnau Comas to make a nice commanding lead before Nordjylland weren't quite done yet. A fantastic ball to Ingvartsen to make it 3-2, but it was time to go ahead and run away with this one. Lucas Bergvall in cam found Junior Zay. He gets the byline, beats his man, doesn't cut it back, goes greedy and batters it home for 4-2. We then go ahead and get a 5th. Bergvall and Zay linking up again before Trondle to the left-hand side, but it's a ball in. Keeper has an absolutely awful mistake, and Ansiste knocks home for 5-2. We then go ahead and got a red card, which doesn't even matter because Otrobic finds a decent ball through to Ansiste, and it's 6-2. And what a way to mark a return back to the Champions League. Obviously got quite nice with a fixture against Nordjylland. It could have been much more difficult, but it was good to get back into the Champions League and kick things off in such a convincing way. In the league phase, we finished down in 19th, 3 victories, Nordjylland, Dynamo and Newcastle, 2 draws against Lazio and Liverpool, and 3 losses against Atletico, Bayern Munich and Barcelona. But it did mean we were into the knockout playoff round, which is pretty good sort of to get through to already. And after a pretty boring first leg against AC Milan, which was 1-1, we went ahead and had to go to the San Siro. Sorry, it was actually 1-0 to us in the first leg in the at our stadium. We had to come to the San Siro, which is where we're going to pick up from right now. Renato Vega finding a ball in to Junior Zay to make it 2-0 on aggregate, and Onyeg Boulay is going to drive down this left-hand side and cut a ball back to Junior Zay to make it 3-0 on aggregate, which is incredibly impressive. But AC Milan had other ideas. Pulisic finds Umar Dedic down the right-hand side. Zay gets a great challenge in. It drops to Alex B, and he finds it home for 3-1. But we weren't done. We were going to go ahead and beat them. Ilinic down the right-hand side sets it back to Juan Galto, and it's 4-1. And a very convincing victory, a very strong performance. I mean, we got all the way to the round of 16 in Europe, which for me is incredibly impressive, where we did go ahead and lose to Manchester City 3-0 on aggregate over 2 legs against the richest team in the world. I will happily go ahead and take that. And I think it leaves a very good point for you guys on Patreon. You know, we've not won the Champions League. We didn't do the domestic double this season, but we are a dominant Swiss side. So probably the best team in Switzerland by quite far. There is a lot of unbelievable players here at the club. I mean, the amount of 5-star potential is here. The amount of ability that is here. Lucas Bergvall, Junior Zay, Gian Guto, all 21 and under are our 3 best players. And even if you can find a system to get Bergvall and Adriano Onyegbule into the same team, you're going to be absolutely laughing. I mean, some of these players are wanted by big clubs. I mean, Bochum in Germany, Sunderland, we've got Huddersfield, Eibar and Lorient. These guys are getting to the round of 16 in the Champions League. It's one of my bigger clubs than Damac and Sunderland and, I mean, Everton. I mean, what sort of club is that, eh? But a very impressive rebuild, in my opinion, based on the wonder kids that have come through the academy. I think we've done very well. Just one more player coming through this season at a very good level is Elkabar Kokşin. This guy's got decent finishing, decent composure, great flair, great teamwork. Looks a bit more like a winger to me. I'll probably develop him into a very... Oh, I don't know, his crossing's not very good. Maybe a cam. He looks very decent, good passing and technique. Maybe a cam is the play for Kokşin if you do pick up the save on Patreon. I hope you did enjoy this slightly different style of rebuild. You know, more highlights, a bit slower paced. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's a rebuild down here, which is over an hour long. If you're watching this late on in the evening and you want to see me rebuild the oldest club in England back to the top of English football, that is just down there. And YouTube recommends you go ahead and watch that one. So go ahead, enjoy, and I'll speak to you next time.